All right, I'm here with Markus Stahlberg. He is the co-founder and CEO of N.Rich. N.Rich is the leading European ABM platform, and I think you guys actually have some proof to back that up because you're the only European ABM platform that's featured in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for ABM platforms. They are obviously B2B SaaS, around 100 people, the team looks like. So, Markus, thank you for joining me, and let me know if I made factual statements here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're not quite 100 people yet. We are at 50 to 60 at the moment, but okay. Yeah, in that range. Otherwise, really good introduction. Thank you.
Cool. Getting there. And you started the company in 2015. Yeah. Just take me back. Starting an ABM platform in 2015 in Finland. You guys are in Finland, Helsinki, in Europe. Take me back to that point and kind of what was the idea? Why did you guys start it? And maybe it wasn't even an ABM platform to begin with.
Yeah, this is a good way to start. So actually, like I'll give you a bit of a background story. My, let's say, learning for this kind of startup ecosystem, startup world was already coming like in 20 in the beginning of 2000. So I started in a mobile games company, and back then it was all about SMS. It was quite a big company, then venture funded. But Right Entertainment, where like really kind of learned this idea about this kind of international like ecosystem in a sense, and international sales and so forth. Then I did maybe 10 years of entrepreneurship. And more on the service side, marketing side, and then turned to software.
Sorry, you ran a marketing agency? Is that?
Yeah. It's like promotion agency. Shopper marketing was the area that we focused in. We even wrote a book about that. You can find it in Amazon, Shopper Marketing. So, but that was really like kind of learning in that stage that it's difficult to scale this kind of business without having some kind of a component of software or so. Then you just need to do it with headcount, and that didn't really sound like a good kind of a future. But what we did was that we kind of pivoted in a sense to software. The company ended up we acquired this top level domain called .promo. That's like you have .com, you have whatever .ai, and we acquired .promo. And then once we did that, we exited the company, kind of sold this top level domain, and then kind of moved to the new adventures. And then there was a couple of years doing this kind of I was running this let's say B2B media sales company. And at that company, I realized how backward the B2B side is. That it's really like kind of it was maybe in 2014 or something like that. That digitalization was really not happening, at least not in the Nordics at that point in the B2B so much. And then came with the idea of N.Rich. It came from the media area. So we actually created this advertising unit, which is this scrollable article, and that's where the idea started. We were first testing different areas, like even B2C, but then let's say after 6 months we realized that okay, B2B is where we want to really focus, and that's where we also kind of realized the potential of ABM, account-based marketing. It was quite quickly we got there. We saw that the B2B companies, they have like a lot of budgets, but they are spending most of it in events at that time. Like it was just like offline, and not really understanding the fact that you have a certain limited number of companies that you can sell to, And then you should rather focus on those companies, kind of everything you do. You should get analytics of those companies. You should, target your advertising to those companies and so forth. Obviously, it was not very sophisticated that time. We were doing a lot of benchmarking of competition, and to be honest, getting inspired on like how to build our product further, how to build an ABM platform. But back then, like if you think about it from strategic perspective, I also realized that B2B is moving so slowly. Yep. That if you compare it to B2C, where we have, for instance, e-commerce, and it's like really kind of moving fast, B2B is lagging behind at least 10 years, and this is going to be happening all the time, all the way to the future. As a very nice point, there is this sales and marketing cooperation, which is something I've heard like 20 years now. Like people are always talking about that, like how are sales and marketing cooperating, and it's still there. Like it's still like a big issue with sales with this B2B company. So it's just very slow, which means that this market there's not going to be kind of an explosive growth, but it will be growing for a very, very, very long time. So we saw that there is like a kind of a very interesting market there. We invested a lot to the product development for many years, like developing a product that is competitive, can be competitive in the international markets. We took advantage of the very startup-friendly environment in Finland. So there are a lot of these grants and support that you can get from the government. So we didn't do any seed funding. We were basically funding everything ourselves, and then using those grants that are available. And then eventually in 2021, we got our Series A financing, and then started expanding the business and actually doing go to market. So
from 2015 till 2021, you were bootstrapping / getting grants that were supported. Is that correct? And then 2021, you raised a Series A.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
So, and then yeah. So it was also, I think, an important experience to do it like that. So the idea has been from the start that building the business on a healthy basis. So we didn't go into this scale or die kind of an environment where you have just two options that either you succeed or fail, and most companies fail. So I think we were just trying to build the business in a solid foundation. So.
That's the European mindset right there. US company. Yeah. You would not say that. I love it. No, I think just one comment. I feel like there's two arbitrage plays going on. One, there's the B2C, B2B arbitrage, where B2B companies who are on their toes learning about what B2C has already figured out and implementing in their company. There's that arbitrage going on. And then also, being someone who has their, 1 feet in the European market and 1 feet in the US market, there's also an arbitrage of European companies figuring out what's already working in the US and then replicating that playbook. And the European market is like 3 years, 5 years behind where the US is. And so it's just an interesting, I think, thing to think about. Was ABM a term at 2015? I'm not familiar with
Yeah, it was. It was let's say not maybe 2016. There was one company who probably introduced this term in the US, and we benchmarked them a lot at that time. They were very advertising focused. So what we also did was that we built our own demand side platform, for programmatic advertising. That was a huge investment and really a big challenge to build it. There are not many in the world if you look at the DSPs. So it's a heavy piece of technology, and as a startup we built one, and we wanted to kind of build an kind of B2B DSP or ABM DSP that's really focused on the B2B side. So that was very important. So I'd say our platform, even until the time that we got the financing, we were really advertising focused, and even the ABM market itself was quite advertising focused until that point. And then I think from there it started moving more to the sales side.
When you say the ABM is more advertising focused, what do you mean with that?
So if you think about let's say evolution of account-based marketing, so first concept and first idea was that you will personalize your ads to the specific companies. So you can say that, hey, IBM, would you like to hear about our solution or something like that? Quite silly like idea in general, like not really like very very powerful in general, but like that was where this idea I think started, and then intent data came into picture, maybe somewhere after 2015, 2016, 2017, and then kind of integrated into ABM. And then after that, I think the current stage where we are at is that this kind of sales intelligence and nowadays it's not anymore. You can't really say that it's account-based marketing. It's account-based experience, ABX, or account-based everything, or it's like that. You can still call it ABM, but actually it's not about marketing anymore. It's about the whole overall kind of revenue account-based revenue process. So
I can smell an opportunity for someone to create the category and coin the term. What's going to be the term?
Attempts. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Like I think even Forrester was saying that ABM wouldn't anymore exist in 24, last year's prediction of theirs. But like it is still there. It's going strong, and there was just recently in the SaaS event in San Francisco, it was really brought up that ABM is the thing that you need to do. So I think like in the larger market, it's still about ABM. Just people who are already practicing, who are providers like us. We know that doesn't really conceptualize the whole thing. But like if you think about awareness about the term, like what's the point of coining a new term, because everybody knows account-based marketing already. So that's I think it will still remain for quite a long time. There are no good terms that would replace it, at least in my
so that you can be number one, right? That's why companies create categories. So they're like, we're the only account-based everything platform.
Yeah, but that has been attempted already. But
I see. Interesting. Right. Does account-based marketing only make sense when you sell into enterprise? And if so, like at what size of enterprise? Because different people define enterprise differently.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say I would not put it that way. I would put it in a way that it depends on your ACV and your contract value. If your business is very transactional, if you are charging customers, let's say 1,000, maybe 10,000 a year, then ABM is not the way to go. So then it's more about volume. It's more about this kind of a traditional idea, which is what unfortunately many B2B companies are still thinking, that in B2B you should do this kind of funnel approach. You do spray and pray in your market, whatever it's industry or so, but it's a broad market in which you then just try to kind of hit those targets and convert them into MQLs and SQLs and all that stuff, which works fine in if you think about B2C, e-commerce, transactional B2B works okay. But then when you start to go into these long sales cycles from, let's say, 3 months until whatever 24 months or so, then it starts to become more tricky, because then you don't have an infinite TAM. So you will have certain number of accounts that you have in the TAM, and then also you don't have an infinite number of accounts that are in markets who are actually considering buying something. And this is not an impulse purchase. Like when you are talking about things that cost, let's say $1 million, it's not going to be just like you see an ad and then let's go and buy it. Totally. I think it's the process will be digitalizing more and more in future, but we are still in a phase that you need to do a lot of different kinds of interactions over the sales process, and sales is very let's say over the buying process. And this is also always important, that let's not think about sales process, because that's maybe 30% of the buying process. So let's think about the buying process. Like you don't have a need in the beginning, and then you start to emerge. It starts to emerge that you need to do something, but you don't really know what it is, and then exploring options and all that, and it takes a lot of time. So to answer to your question, I would say it's not so much of your target audience. It's more about your business, like what do you sell, and but usually that also, of course, correlates with the company size as well. But I would say, as a rule of thumb, if you are able to kind of the cohort of customers to whom you can sell with, let's say, more than 50,000 as an ACV, that should be your ABM target. And if that segment provides enough business value for you, then you should consider ABM. If not, then obviously then you can do it otherwise. But that's where I would start.
Interesting. It's also, I mean, again, with all of these terms, ABM, different people have different opinions on what that even constitutes. Like I had a chat with someone, and I mean, I'll just preface this that I have no idea about ABM, right? But so someone asked me, like, we do, LinkedIn ads, and we build, content, LinkedIn content for executives of SaaS companies, right? And then what we do is, for some of them, they're in the enterprise segment, and then we build a target account list that we build together with them, and then we run the LinkedIn ads towards them. And that might be a list of 200 companies, might be 500 companies, it might be 1,000 companies, right? And then the ads only go out to these 500 companies. I consider that kind of ABM. She said, no. ABM is only if you have, let's say, a list of 15 companies or 20 companies, and you build the ads only for that one company, and you have a landing page that's tailored to that company that says, as you said, like, ABM, here's how you can use our product or something, which obviously that type of thing I feel like you can't justify that if you're charging a 50K ACV. That's really for million plus ACV. So I'm curious, like, where you see that spectrum, how you even define ABM.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and this is kind of coming back to the definition that there are basically like three categories of ABM, account-based marketing. So we have one-to-one ABM, where you are just targeting just one account. That's what you were talking about. So it's you just put all your efforts, like very personalized, very tailored approach to that one account. That's one-to-one. Then you have one-to-few, in which case you have maybe 20 to 50 accounts, where you are tailoring it not based on the account, but maybe based on the industry. So you could do something like, for, let's say, healthcare industry, you select 50 companies from healthcare industry or 25 companies from healthcare industry, and then you create an approach to that. It could be with the one-to-one and one-to-few. Digital is probably not going to be the biggest part. You should be doing more maybe events, direct mail, sales enablement, materials for the sales, research of the accounts, like all those kinds of things, which are it's more manual, and it costs more, just what you said there, that you need to be, it needs to be very justified. But then you have this one-to-many, and that's an interesting thing. This is what you were talking about, but the other person you discussed with didn't recognize it as ABM. And that's let's say one challenge with the terminology, that some people are only thinking about the one-to-one and one-to-few when talking about ABM. So you need to be really careful when talking about it, and categorize it in a way that, okay, now when we talk about ABM, we talk about one-to-many, or we talk about one-to-one or one-to-few. So that's a bit of a challenge, and it seems to be that even depending on the markets, there is a bit of a different interpretation. So on average, for instance, in the UK, it seems to be that there is more of this one-to-one, one-to-few type interpretation, whereas elsewhere, it's not so strong.
I'm curious, could we put an ACV range for these three categories: one-to-many, one-to-few, one-to-one, where you feel like that's the right approach, and if it's higher than that, you need to graduate?
Well, you ACV is not the only thing. You could also have some kind of strategic approach. So let's say that you want to ensure that you get this kind of spotlight customer from a certain industry in order to be able to go to that industry.
I understand. Yeah, I'm just curious to make it profitable, right? Because one-to-one, if you're going to host events and build a custom landing page, they need to be paying you a lot that you can actually do this profitably. So I'm just curious, just ballpark, maybe you have these numbers. One-to-many, what do you see? 50K to 100K, 50K to 200K ACV?
I'd say it really depends. It comes to the CAC. Like so what kind of CAC do you like? Do you want to? If you think what CAC to LTV ratio. So I think it depends. I mean,
I'll do it for you. I'll put some numbers out there, and you correct me. I'll do one to many is 50 to 150K ACV. One too few.
No, don't do it like that. It's okay. Like because it depends on the business. So for some businesses, like a big deal means 30 million, like a year, right. and for some businesses, a big deal means $1 million or 500,000. So you can't and don't do that categorization. Okay. I think it's more about like look at your kind of look at your company strategy, look at what you are selling, look at your objectives, and then decide what you need to do. I would say this one-to-one, it's always kind of more like a strategic decision. Like it's not about and it's not going like you said that you're just like kind of taking a TAM of 3,000 accounts and then saying that I will do one-to-one to 100 of those because we have the potential of selling so much. You don't have the resources for that in any case. So there needs to be a strategic goal that you have for those like one-to-one companies. I would say like that's like there's some reason why you want to have this customer. Obviously, it could be just about the money, just about the ACV, just about the deal size. But typically what I've seen is that it's more that there's something more around it. For instance, you want this kind of like a good customer reference from a certain industry, from a certain market, or that this is a customer that's like just strategically from your product perspective, you need to have one of those customers so that you can get others. So I mean, you can't. I wouldn't. I would say that better rule of thumb would be that you should do all of these generally. Like if you have more than 50,000 the ACV like range, and then you should kind of segment your TAM into these three categories. So you would probably in any case you would do maybe from 1 to 5. At best maybe 1 to 10 of these one-to-one approaches, but I'd say in the startup world probably even 2 or 3 would be like the typical limit. I've seen even enterprise companies having just 1 or 2, so it's not a lot. And in the one to few, it's probably somewhere around less than 50 or so, and then the rest will be in the one to many category.
Right. Love it. Okay, you're calling me out on my bullshit. Love it. I'm curious from your perspective as the founder of this company, how do you navigate what seems to me as an outsider a very crowded market in terms of ABM platforms, feature wars? I think literally just yesterday, I saw a post on LinkedIn that had all of them listed that are in there, like 6 Sense and whatever. And it was basically by feature broken down. Like, do they have programmatic? Yep. Nope. How do you think about being a player in this type of market?
So first of all, there are not so many players in the market. So if you look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant, you'll see less than 10 companies in total in that quadrant. So it's not a very crowded market from that perspective. There are, of course, let's say this whole B2B MarTech, there is this consolidation happening. So all the categories are becoming closer to each other, and it could come from the direction of sales enablement or sales engagement, or it could be coming from the direction of revenue intelligence, or you have these different consolidation directions that are going on. So that's the first thing, just to note that ABM platform, you should think about it like in terms of like what do you want to achieve, like what is it that you actually need. I'm not a big fan of this kind of an idea that you need to check the boxes. In order to be an ABM platform, you need to have this and this and this and this and this. Because what happens with this approach, like it was probably this post that you saw, is that you try to check as many boxes as possible. But it doesn't mean that you will be great in all of those. You will be great maybe in 1 or 2, and then the rest is just a check in the box. And this I've seen happening, especially in the contact data side. So contact data is a new introduction to ABM space, that the ABM platforms need to be able to provide the contact data. And it's kind of understandable if you think about it, account-based approach is always on the account level, but sales is always on the contact level. So you need to bridge this gap somehow. So it's kind of understandable that that contact data became a feature, or kind of like at least this kind of option to have within the ABM platforms. But what ends up happening, this is also an important point, that are you looking for a platform, or do you believe that there could be one platform that does everything for you in a perfect way? Or do you think it in a way that, okay, let's try to build a stack that does those things that I need in a perfect way, which means that, you will, there's always a compromise. I mean, if you want to make it, get it easy, you'll just take one provider and don't really care about, how good they are in all of those different capabilities. But that means that you will be compromising on the quality. Like that, it just means that you just end up getting like worse results. And then again, like if you do the approach that you will kind of pick the best providers and build your stack on top of those, then you will introduce some complexity because you need to work with several providers. But the quality will for sure be better. So I think this is the trade-off. And to answer to your question, how do we manage in this market, is that we really want to focus on certain key things that we think that we can do really well, like advertising. I think we have the best ABM advertising platform there is, and then not trying to do everything that you saw in that table, because it just doesn't make sense. Like for instance, with the contact data, you just see that it will be, the quality can't be 100% kind of the best in the market, because even with the contact data providers like that are only doing that, there are market specific differences. One company is strong in the US, other one is strong in Europe, and so forth. So how could you ever get to a point where like just one provider that is not even focusing on that area will be doing the best job? So
I'm curious, have you seen the new, I feel like they're popping up, the person level website identity tools from retention.com, and Warmly is one. What's your take on that? And obviously, as a European, I don't even think you're allowed to use these things, but what do you think about them? Is that the future of ABM? You can see, oh shit, the CTO of IBM went to our website. Let's email him right now.
I'd love to see how it actually works. I mean, I've seen several attempts to do something like that, and I think it's like, are you betting on the privacy regulation to get looser, or are you betting on that getting stricter? So, I mean, I don't know, of course, what's going to happen in the US, but at least for now, we see that there is a lot of development to the stricter side of things, which eventually, I mean, we've seen it. There's one platform that did this in Europe, and or a couple of platforms actually, and the problem is that with GDPR, they can't compete in Europe. I mean, you can, of course you can buy from them, but if you are a bigger company, enterprise company especially, you just can't risk it because you might end up getting fined some 10% of your annual revenue or something like that. You don't want to risk that for an ABM platform, or for this kind of a platform. It's still a small thing. So from that perspective, I think I wouldn't see that that's the future, because saying that that's the future, then it would mean that we'd expect and we'd bet on the privacy regulation getting looser in the future.
That makes sense. All right. You posted a couple of weeks ago about the 4 go-to-market models, so you categorized them into 4. So I would love to go over that a little bit. I'll share my screen here so we can actually look at it. So there's 4 animals. No, not all animals. There's 3 animals and 1 rocket here. So do you want to break this down? And you can start wherever you want, and kind of share some thoughts here. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah. So I'll start from the reason why I thought that something like this is needed. So as everybody in at least in the SaaS industry knows this growth at all cost used to be the way to go in the market. VC backed startups. So you don't care about CAC, you don't care about anything but the growth. Growth is the most important metric for you, and that's where kind of this idea started. That's the rocket. Like you grow fast, but you waste resources. There is no doubt about that, and no question about that. And that's exactly where some companies end up winning, some companies end up losing. When you build your company based on this ideology, you just need to get more money all the time. Otherwise, like your rocket runs out of fuel, and you'll hit the ground and explode. So you need to be you need to be refueling all the time. And this is what happened with this venture crunch during like last year and previous year, that suddenly like there wasn't any more fuel available. So it meant that many of course companies went bust, but like many companies needed to really start rethinking their approach. What's the option? What's the alternative to the growth at all costs? And here you kind of get to these different approaches. So the idea with this matrix is that you have two dimensions. You have the CAC and you have the level of growth that you are expecting. So CAC meaning customer acquisition cost. So how much are you spending to acquire a customer? And growth meaning like how much you can scale your growth. And obviously it's easiest to do it if you have unlimited money. Like you just pour as much money as you want, and you don't care about CAC. You pay more per customer than they pay you. So this kind of CAC versus LTV is like the ratios are terrible, but that's easy. But then what ends up happening easily is that if you remove the fuel from the rocket, and then you start kind of restructuring the organization, cutting down the costs, you end up in the left quadrant. So you don't really you're not really able to grow, and you still end up wasting resources, because the fact is that if you
need to name them because they have great names. Slumbering sloth.
Yeah, that's the sloth. Yeah, that's the slumbering sloth indeed. So on the left side, you end up very easily there, which means that you generate less and less sales because you don't have the fuel anymore, which means that your CAC is still high, even if you are like reducing your costs. And like this dynamic it's a terrible one, because like if you end up there, kind of rocket is better because you are still growing, but here you are actually like still like a rocket. Of course, your absolute total cost will be lower, but your CAC will still be high because you can't scale your go-to-market, and that's the slumbering sloth.
And you got some symptoms in here too, where you're not really leveraging automation. I'm assuming AI is included in that. You don't really have great sales and marketing alignment. You're doing spray and pray marketing, advertising. You have no idea what your customer acquisition cost is, and you don't have an SDR motion is what you have in here.
Yeah, that's right. So this is where many B2B companies are, like this, let's say, traditional industries. This is where I was mentioning before, this kind of spray and pray approach, this funnel approach. So you haven't gone to account-based marketing. You don't understand that you should be focusing on certain accounts. You are not really focusing your resources. You are just like generating MQLs and all that, which typically means that you don't understand what your CAC is. And in the beginning, you don't have this business sales development motion at all. So like and this is at least at the moment it's a bit of a transition going on there with the BDR motion but yeah, in general, like this is where you don't have very much idea of what you're doing. So from rocket you go to being like a slumbering sloth, or like you can be a slumbering sloth without really realizing that. So that's like obviously where many companies start on the bottom half, and then you need to go up. Obviously, like if we look at the top right, so you are agile, you have low CAC and high growth. This is super hard to achieve. This is like very, very difficult to achieve. You need a really fine-tuned revenue engine. You have sales and marketing working really smoothly together. You have all the data about the buyer journey. You can do the demand generation on a strategic long-term level. You do the demand capture on the short-term level. You're automating a lot, so you don't need so much resources. You probably don't use a lot of external resources. You insource most of it so that you can control it, and you try to automate as much as possible. But that's really hard to get to, and especially if you are on the bottom half, either the slot or the rocket, it's almost impossible to go directly there. So typically, what you need to do first is that you need to go into the top left quadrant to be the enduring camel. Mm-hmm. So you need to really learn how to optimize your CAC. So how to do customer acquisition in an efficient way. It won't be scalable at first. So you need to learn how do you do the go-to-market in a way that your costs aren't super huge. You're still able to generate meaningful traction, meaningful sales, but it's not very scalable. And that's where I would generally recommend the rockets to go if they need to, if they don't have fuel. So try to get this kind of CAC in order. And the same thing for the slots. So go first there, and then once you are there. Once it works, once you are able to see that the CAC is very, very high and you're able to grow, then start looking at the how to scale the growth and go towards the cheetah.
Not quite as cool to be an enduring camel though as a rocket.
Unfortunately so.
I have one, maybe two specific questions here on the low CAC, high growth, the agile cheetah, where everyone wants to be. You say buyer journey based ad scaling. I'm just curious what you mean by that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now this is about understanding what is the stage of the buyer journey for each of the companies you are targeting. So first thing, I think we didn't cover this yet, but when you start to do ABM, you need to define your ideal customer profile, your ICP. So what this list of companies, target account list, essentially, and this should be a list that is shared. The ICP should be shared with your sales. So it's marketing and sales are both actioning towards the same set, same universe of accounts. And now, typically, you would have some thousands of accounts in your ICP. So the question is what should I do with this ICP? So should I just randomly, start calling them by the sales and then just target all of them with the same content by marketing, or should I do something more specific? So then you get into this, let's say, more fine-tuned approach where you need data to understand the buyer journey stage. So if the account is cold, they are not in market, they are not researching, they have no idea that even about, they don't even have a need for your product, but that they should have. So this company at some point should have the need. So then what you do is that you should be probably not wasting your sales resources on these accounts, but you should be doing awareness. You should be educating these companies. You should be letting them know that, there is such a need. There is maybe a problem that you haven't identified, and try to kind of find those people in the organizations who start to advocate for change. But there, you just do a very specific thing with the advertising. Maybe email, but you don't do a lot, and it doesn't cost a lot per account. Yeah. You don't do sales, definitely. And then if you go to the other end of this buyer journey, where the company is considering buying, they have shortlisted you, but they're not yet talking to yourself. So they are visiting on your website. They are researching, or they are considering maybe shortlisting you into their
G2.
yeah, they would be more maybe on G2, and different signals are showing that they are kind of like hot, and in this situation, obviously you want to do all you can, like you want to put all the possible resources to this kind of accounts in order to convert them, in order to get your sales motion going on, in order to get them into your pipeline. So then again, like it's kind of optimizing this resource allocation based on the data. It's kind of data driven approach that like in order to get to this point, you need to really be like very good at.
Right. Interesting. I have a question on AI. I mean, there's this whole craze around AI. How are you thinking about, as the founder and CEO, around leveraging AI, and both in terms of how you build it into the product? Like, are there any real use cases how we can actually use AI to make our platform better? And in terms of, what can we automate from the team? Do we do customer support now that's fully AI? So maybe let's start with the product, how you're thinking about it, and then we think about like how you run your own organization.
Yeah. So first of all, I have to say that I've personally gone through like a couple of stages in my AI journey. So we've been working on AI for a very long time, even before the current trend that we have with the generative AI. But I would say that I really believe in this technology. It's amazing. Like it's amazing results that it's producing, and we are not there. It's not HEI, so it's not in the level that you can just like put it on autopilot in a way that you just trust it to do everything. And I'm a bit concerned, to be honest, about these emerging companies who are like providing the automated SDR and this kind of things. And I'm just a bit concerned about this direction. I don't think technology is really there. It's a bit like the autopilot of Tesla. So it sounds great, but in the end, it's not quite what it was supposed to be. So I think I'd be very careful there. But what I see, like now, if we go to the product side, is that we are currently integrating generative AI into the advertising creation and advertising workflows. And what I see there is that the initial first idea is that, okay, this will make it easier to create the ads. And obviously it does. Like that's really nice. But if you think about, let's say from strategic perspective, that will give you a boost. Like you will save some time. Like you will save a couple of hours with every ad or something like that. You will save some cost. You don't need to go to an agency. You can just like use the AI. And to be honest, it works really well. Like you get really good results from it. But that's not enough. I think like that's not the big value. That's like you save some, but it's not huge.
Right.
So the way I'm seeing this is that where the power comes from is that you can do more with the same resources. So you have these 2 hours, to work on the ads. So in this same time, you can create, instead of creating one ad, you can create a personalized ad to the CFO of the fintech company that is top of the funnel. So you can go really granular with this this personalization of the ads. Obviously, I wouldn't do it again in an autopilot in a way that you just trust the AI. You need an specialist who understands the context, who understands, like what we should be doing. And I'd say like it's 70%, 80% maybe, like that you can just works immediately. And then this 20 to 30% you need to do some kind of tweaks. So it gives you this kind of boost. Instead of like just saving your time, it actually gives you can do more, you can be more efficient, you can do more like a higher quality. So that's at least that's the first step that I see that's already happening with our product that we'll be utilizing the AI for.
Yeah, and then within your own organization, how are you thinking about using AI?
Yeah, well, we are using it like in all the different teams. So whether it's the development team who are using the co-pilots, or whether it's the sales team who are using it to cross the messages, whether it's the marketing team who are like going to the level of like creating a marketing strategy or kind of getting inputs into that, or whether it's me who is like I'm using every day like the generative AI to like for ideas for answering questions and even going to the level that doing this kind of research and I'm really a believer in that, and I think like everybody should be really endorsing.
Right.
This.
Interesting. All right. Last question. What's next for you and N.Rich?
So we are establishing like a solid foothold, like as the leading European ABM provider. So there are a lot of companies, a lot of B2B companies, a lot of SaaS companies who are looking into ABM at the moment. According to Gartner, the hype cycle of ABM is in the stage that it's getting mature. So we'll have like a lot of demand, and we see that already. So a lot of companies are considering it. So what we are really looking forward to is tapping into this growth and being the alternative for companies adopting ABM that is more agile and more simple and easier to adopt than our competition. And then I really like to be in this situation. It's very challenging, like you said. We have this big companies we are up against, and but we are doing great. So happy about that.
Love it. The European champion of ABM. All right, Markus, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome. We will link down your profile, your LinkedIn, and the N.Rich website down below. So if anyone after listening to this is interested in either connecting with you or checking out N.Rich, they can do that there. Thank you for joining. I think there were lots of little bits in here that people can take and do something with. So appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Finn. It was great. Thank you very much.